Anybody know about this? Do you know that Superintendent David Brown was suspended because City Council didn't know it when they were approving his appointment by the mayor's office? This comes to us from Chicago Justice Project, as reported by Lauren Cole, and this just came out this week. The Chicago Justice Project uncovered a past suspension of Superintendent David Brown during his career in the Dallas Police Department. Now, before I go on with this article, I want to go on record and say I've actually kind of been on the fence about Superintendent Brown until now. When I see this, and you want to give our officials the benefit of the doubt, as you want to understand and believe that, law enforcement is supposed to serve and protect us. And the superintendent has been very vocal about, mandates he wants to pursue, how he feels the police department has been unjustly painted by the media. And then you find out how transparent was Superintendent Brown when he was appointed or reviewed by the city council prior to Mayor Lightfoot's appointment. According to his personnel file obtained by the Chicago Justice Project through a Freedom of Information Act request, Brown was suspended after pursuing a vehicle into oncoming traffic and submitting multiple reports containing false information. False information. It's just like deja vu, especially here in Chicago. Due to the unusually rushed nature of this superintendent selection process, it is unclear if members of the Chicago City Council had adequate time to conduct an in-depth review of Brown's background. You'd think that they should have been given that time, and discover that he had lied multiple times during an internal investigation to cover up misconduct. More about the details regarding the suspension of David Brown are linked in the article. When searching for a new police superintendent, the police board usually announces 3 finalists to the mayor and public after reviewing all applicants. The mayor then interviews the finalists with ample time and opportunities for public vetting, feedback, and other methods for community input. Of course, remember, the previous police superintendent was involved in a scandal where Lightfoot had to get him out pronto and appoint somebody new to the position. Then after the mayor appoints a finalist, there's a confirmation hearing and vote by the Chicago City Council. Under Chicago City ordinance, this selection process is led by the police board. However, Mayor Lightfoot conducted private interviews of the finalists before their names were made public. She then chose Brown for the position just a day after the names were made public on April 1st, 2020. Additionally, Lightfoot stated that she had been considering Brown for the job since December 2019 after Eddie Johnson was fired. The Chicago Sun-Times even reported that the police board knew Lightfoot wanted Brown and chose 2 less qualified candidates, lame ducks, as finalists to make the choice more obvious. These actions led to many to question if she had subverted the selection. No, subvert the selection process. The mayor of Chicago? Come on.
What? Our Chicago mayor? Never once in the history of Chicago politics has a mayor ever done anything to subvert anything. Come on. Since when? Since ever.
I'm shocked. As former Mayor Rahm Emanuel had done with Eddie Johnson's appointment. Same as the old boss. New boss, same as the old boss, right?
Yep.
During Brown's nearly 4-hour-long confirmation hearing, his suspension was not brought up at all. The visualization below categorizes each question for Brown during this hearing by alderperson and topic. There you go. Right there. A lot of topics, and somehow that didn't make the radar. Did Lightfoot and the police board know about Brown's suspension? Was his suspension noted at all in this rushed selection process? Did members of the Chicago City Council have enough time to look over his record before confirming him? And what about Scarecrow's brain? I mean, we're supposed to believe everything that comes out from CPD because, they're supposed to be transparent about everything. And a lot of what happened with Eddie Brown and his replacement had to do with finding someone with more integrity that was really, and I don't know that I'm going to argue Superintendent Brown doesn't have the job qualifications, but there's now a question of integrity and transparency and disclosure. And this always goes back to how are we supposed to trust the people, the law enforcement to protect us when it's rules for thee, not for me. We cover things up. We hide things to get what we want done. We don't care about the due process of vetting things properly. But you, the citizen, and anybody we shoot, that there isn't a police cam video that we can't cover up? That's not fair game.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, we need to have immediate political reform in our system. And the sad fact is that we know how bad it can get. We've seen these stories. We're barely scratching the surface. What upsets me is that there's still this attempt by our elected leaders to kick that can down the road. They know about the police corruption. They know about the police brutality. In 2017, maybe it's a little different subject, but in 2017, Daniel and I covered an event by the Exoneration Project where 16 black men were exonerated from crimes that they did not commit because they were given false evidence was planted on them, false charges were given to them by four Chicago police officers. And the thing is that there's more like those 16 gentlemen who were in jail, who lost a lot of their years. And so seeing this, I'm not surprised by the incompetence of our elected leaders. I'm not surprised by the incompetence of the CPD, but there needs to be much needed reform. Not a new academy. You could build a state-of-the-art academy, but if the corruption, if the incompetence is still there, nothing's going to change.
And they haven't disbanded Home and Square yet, have they?
No.
That facility, that torture facility.
No.
Well, here's the interesting thing, Kit. It's not like this information wasn't easy to find had any other research outside of the city council review been done. So they say in the article that there were over 1,500 articles covering Brown's confirmation process from the Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times, CBS 2, NBC 5, ABC 7, WGN 9, and Fox 32. In fact, the only articles we could find mentioning his suspension were from the Dallas Morning News in 2010 after he was named the Dallas Police's first assistant chief, and a 2016 timeline of his career. This indicates that at least some information regarding Brown's suspension was publicly known, but the Chicago media, the mainstream corporate Chicago media, did not conduct an adequate investigation of Brown's history or background in Dallas. The combination of the media's failure to report on Brown's history and the rushed superintendent selection process meant that the public was unable to judge the appropriateness of Brown's nomination and confirmation. But what Lightfoot wanted, Lightfoot got. As Brown wrote in Called to Rise, A Life in Faithful Service to the Community That Made Me, trust is the most important factor between a community and its police force, and the only way to earn it is through complete transparency. We hope that Brown will take action to support his belief in transparency so that the community of Chicago does not lose out on important and relevant facts again. So one of the research contributors to this article at Chicago Justice was Kaylee Foyle, and this is really quite an eye-opening article. Now, here's another thing. I actually came across this through an obscure news source on Google. I haven't heard our mainstream media reporting on this as we are here tonight through the Chicago Justice Project. So,
wow.
We're going to probably subclip this as a show segment to put up after the live stream. Anybody that's interested in passing it along or tweeting it, I think it's an important news story, and you might want to also tag all of our mainstream news sources here in Chicago that this is certainly a story that warrants more examination and disclosure.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. We cannot ignore the incompetence of our elected officials, because the thing is, I remember in 2019 where there was this massive wave of trying to reform this politics in the city, and Lightfoot was riding that wave. She was running with the notion that she was going to bring in change. She never did. She kept things the same, and any form of criticism towards her, she immediately started to lash out against. We need a new mayor. We need a new city council, because if we don't, all these problems that we're dealing with now will only get worse, especially as we enter into the midterm election cycle. 2023, voter turnout must be key, but also we need people that are going to fight for this city. fight for it and do right by its people that have been abused for far too long.